Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. This is the live discussion on promoting rural entrepreneurship, investment, and trade in agriculture, more specifically in the two CPIC provinces, that's East and West CPIC. So as you can see with me in front is the panel members for this discussion. On my left, your right, is Kristen Harowe, the Program Manager for Greater CPIC Labor Mobility Program. And on my right, your left, is Pastor Missy Karam Guguna, the Youth Director for Seventh-day Adventist CPIC Mission. And on my far right, your far left, is Monica Jeda Otto. She is the founder of the Foundation of Women in Agriculture Development in CPIC Province. Once again, thank you so much. We have a big discussion coming up, and we are hopeful that this discussion will, start up some serious conversation between our local farmers in East and West CPIC provinces, and also the stakeholders who are involved in the agriculture sector, to look at the realities that the agriculture sector has and its potential in the development of the two provinces. Thank you, Preston, for your time with us today.
Thank you, Jacklyn.
Thank you, Pastor Missy and Monica.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So this discussion is in line with the celebration of the UN 75, that's the 75th anniversary of United Nations, and also food and agriculture organizations in and around the world. Obviously, you can tell that those trees were planted years ago, by our grandfathers and fathers. So you dealing with the youths, can you, try to make some change, or how can you deal with the youths and tell them that, agriculture is our way forward? So they, they have to, feel motivated to, take it over from their grandparents, dig up those old cocoa trees and, start replanting.
Yeah, thank you, Jacklyn. Firstly, youth need motivations. They need a lot of motivation. They need voice, not only from the upper level, but down their localities. They need those motivation. They need those voice that had continued to guide them. And from helping them from changing from the old perspective and depending so much on what their grandparents had planted, like the old cocos, and transiting to what it is offered now, currently, like they call it a super clone. That's an opportunity. But I want to see what youth needs to do. They need to have a voice, number one. Number two, that voice must motivate them so that they take the hope of opportunity. The other thing, from my perspective, what I see from the youth and looking to the past, the need of our grandparents really pushed them to plant. And then now many of the current people are enjoying what the grandparents have done. For the youth, what I can offer to them this afternoon, they need to understand the need that they're facing. And they need to commit themselves in, planting new cocoa trees and backing what has been given to them. The good thing about the new cocoa is it doesn't take weeks and months for harvest. The duration is really short. Weeks after weeks you can harvest, compared to the old cocoa trees that was introduced 90s, 80s, and such times like that. Yeah.
Thank you, Pastor Missy. I'll just bring Monica into the discussion, with our CPIC tradition and way of life. Our men folk, they are in charge of the decision making and everything, and they see us, the women folk, as something superior and like that. So you, as the mother or the founder of the Foundation of Women in Agriculture Development in CPIC, what will you say about our women engagement in agriculture, and try to prove to our brothers, our fathers, our uncles that we can do this?
I think my own experience indicate that women are the real powerhouse of bringing food to the table, even to go and harvest the dry cocoa pods on the cocoa trees there, that is. The transitions that I see is accessibility to good roads, transport to go up straight to where the warehouse is, good fermentary dryers, where the fish pond has to be cemented or some pumping system need to be put in. They need to go and measure the fish in the fish pond. Vanilla need to be, I think the technology side of the vanilla is very, very poor. Vanilla grows on mainly potash or just humus. It doesn't have to be buried into the ground. And so I visited farms, so the skill training is really lacking. Even the curing part of vanilla is very, very poor. So what it really needs is a lot of skill training. And that is the transition, skill training for both men and women. The family in that household need to understand the similar understanding in the household. Not that men goes and undertake the training in the low-cost bar training, and then the women doesn't understand, because he will work the other way. The men and women's got to understand that skill training of low-cost budding must be well understood by both men and women, and a youth man, young man, who's got his own land and want to go and do his planting. Youth men must be given the opportunity to attend any skill training. Just because the father comes, just because the mother comes, doesn't mean that a youth that is sitting in the village who have no opportunity should not have the opportunity to attend the training. So the transition is skill training, and then the access to road, access to finance, access to market availability with a price tag on it. To me, that is the transition. For any men and women who owns the land to really drive the STREIT program. So if there are Papua New Guinean, especially East and West Pacific men, you are listening, encourage your young youth who is sitting in the house, encourage your women who is out there harvesting your tripod and not having youth support, but let you and him come and attend skill training. And I've seen result of you taking ownership and said, you lapun man, meaning you old men, you say, it's my turn now, I'm going to work with Wewak. So I see youth women, youth men taking up their challenges and going up to Nukulumi, like Adolf, who is a gangster here in Wewak. Now that he heard that there's something going on, he went straight, we gave him 200 kron cocoa seedlings, and he went up there and he came back and he said, oh, 5 that. And I said, don't worry, you planned it out there and you will teach you how to do the skill training. I said, okay, I'll do it. Can I bring someone down? I said, no money. You do the training and take the part stick and go and bat. And it's working. STREIT program, you've got some answers out there, here in Pacific province. So transition from old farming to new farming, it's the availability of road access, I'm emphasizing, availability of market and the pricing, and where to get money in order to finance some more infrastructure or some more farming tools like Dr. Preston is talking about, to send some people over there. I would encourage Dr. Preston to nominate those people who are aggressively trying to farm their land, to send them away so that they can come and still add the bonuses up. You don't send them away and then come back and they will wait for you to give them money. Struggle first, let the road go to their own farming site, and then let them have access to those facilities that is available. That's my own experience. Thank you.
Monica. I think your talk is summarized. When we talk about agriculture, then it comes down to enabling environment, meaning everything like from infrastructure to proper information, and having access to proper information. And like I'll come back to our provincial Department of Agriculture and Livestock. Do you think they're doing enough in terms of providing right information to our local farmers on markets for like vanilla or cocoa? I think that's something that's affecting our local farmers to seriously think about, okay, I'm gonna do vanilla and then base it on vanilla, even though market is not good or bad. I have to stick to it because when the market is good, I'm gonna get big benefit and all that. So do you think our country or the provincial government or people in the agriculture sector is doing enough to educate our local farmers on the market information?
Thank you, Jacklyn. I think that's an area which Monica would be better placed to speak on. But just from personally, I think we need to be very creative and really push information out. Being someone who was involved recently in the polio campaigns and COVID-19 campaigns, when we were motivated to push out this information, we got it out and we covered our whole province. We went to different villages and sites to sort of check like the information reached them. It was reaching people. And you go to a village where people are, hardly educated, but then they can tell you things about social distancing and everything, and you're like, wow, that information can reach out people if we're motivated to push it. So from the agriculture space, there's a lot more we need to be doing. We've got to get creative in how we do this messaging as well. If you're going to get the youths and the young people involved, we've got to make farming look cool. It's got to look nice for young people because young people are influenced by what the in thing is, whether it's drinking and standing on the road and being the Iron Man or fighting or whatever it is. So the same thing we've got to apply, like even to the agriculture sector, and we've got to make it be the thing that they want to do. Because for a lot of young people now, like they miss out on opportunities in school and education and working. So we now sit back and say, okay, the government's supposed to come in and do stuff. They're supposed to create all these training pathways and everything, but they've got a lot of capacity as they are. We own our land, and there's a lot we can already do. And so we've got to work on how we socialize this information. And we've got to push out those opportunities to our young people, to our people, and help them to see the value in these things so that they can start to go for it. But if we're not really pushing out information, and I would say, even though I'm not directly involved in farming, like I don't see a lot of it. Not enough on the social media space, on the media space, not enough posters, not enough campaigns are being done. But as I said earlier, like when we were motivated to push out information for specific campaigns, we do get it out there. And the same has to apply to agriculture. We've got to make it look cool, and we've got to get the information to our people. Sipik miblani look sipasim do atok man atok meri. It's like thinking miblani look pushing goal line don dalo looking mo. You walk out na dislakan good something baka basiran bin and stuff. Belum kalau sabso na tingo sama sabe man tasol man go school tasol lemsol that name na number no gat. You too you man no place. You can only ground and you can be somebody of your land. And this is a culture that we've got to build and we've got to push out for our people to see that there is value in these things.
Pastor Missy, I'll come back to you. So how can you, from like church side, how can you, use what you have from church side to,
Like from the experience, looking from the church that I came from, there's a good system that links straight from the office down to people. And like for information wise, when we talk information, the information falls right to where the people are. And those are some networks that we can tap on to bring agriculture and the passion for rural entrepreneurship in agriculture for young people. And upon what Monica just mentioned, it is time that the province, we must give the opportunity to young people to take the front seat, back them up, to see the importance of agriculture and value and how best we can help them move forward in life to be successful people in our communities here.
So, one culture of people, we love to work solo. Like we do our own garden, we don't want to work in group. But, East and West Pacific now, you have, STREIT PNG present in your province. They are more of supporting, people working together in a group. So I think they are having an issue with our local farmers on the ground coming together to form a group and work together. But from your point of view, how can the local farmers can work together to get benefits from such program like STREIT PNG?
Thank you. STREIT PNG is a very important, like I've said, this is CIPIC's greatest opportunity. For me, coming from East New Britain, I was a bit jealous but looking to that perspective, communities need to be united together. Parents, ward leaders, every stakeholders must be united together in order we help young people so that for the next 5 years, everybody mustn't walk on the street. There's nothing good in Wewak. Everybody needs to go back to our rural communities and unite together, work together so that people can have something, especially for our young people.
Thank you. I think we have a question from our live stream on Facebook from Sarah Alpong. Her question is, in your experience, who are the best influencers who can make information on agriculture impactful? Probably I'll just leave it open for anyone who can answer it. Monica?
Make information available. That also comes to your questions as to are the agriculture officers delivering the services and how can the information be passed?
I think saying who are the best influencers, who can be the best influencers.
The best influences is infrastructure development. The farming communities of any provinces or anywhere that the landowners belong to the people, so long as the road infrastructure is readily available, there's a price that is reasonable for them to pay to hop on the truck and to take that particular produce like the cocoa or vanilla to the nearest market where they can get cash on the spot and have the banking facilities there so that he can save rather than taking the cash and is robbed along the way. Those are the opportunities, and that's where the information needs to be made available. So to me, government officers, we can all the government officers are responsible. We can make STREIT program responsible, but the ownership comes down to people who are going to walk on their land and having to have access to the available all weather road transportations, and having to go to the nearest market where they can get their money, and having to have the bank there so that they can deposit and walk back to their villages. To me, that's the most influential thing. So if I am wrong in that, I'm sorry, listeners, but that's my point of view. You can argue and say that government officers are not going out there. The buyers are not going out there. So long as the road goes in there, they will look for a buyer. They will look for a market. That's what I'm saying. And ECP, the ownership, the land ownership belongs to the male, not the women. So any civic boys who are any in Port Moresby, in Madang, or in Lake, you should come back home because STREIT program is here for you. Thank you.
Can I add to that? Sure. Yeah. Just from my personal perspective, the best influencers, just from our work in health, I'll go back to again what we did for COVID-19, and a lot of money was spent on this throughout the country trying to get information out to people. We spent a lot of money as a province as well trying to push out information about the disease and prevention throughout the province. And it was very interesting to see that there were communities that we reached, but we decided to go out and try to check some of the villages that we were not able to reach. And we went out to these particular communities where they didn't have someone from health or anyone come out and talk to them. The people that they had were the ward councillors who listened to information on radio. And they had already organized their communities and done everything before we reached them. And so for me, like, these people are really important influencers we should not miss out. You've got an existing leadership structure already in the communities that people voted for. Do not bypass these people. And many times, like, there are a lot of initiatives and program and everyone tries to do it on it. I also find it disappointing that these ward councillors who are these local leaders who are there in all these communities, many times we never use them. For a lot of things that we have going on, why can't we bring them all in and train them? Because they are the leader in the community who will be there 24/7 with the people. They can influence and talk to the people all the time. So we've got to make use of the existing leadership structures that are recognized, by the people on the ground.
Always there. Another group of people that can be influenced are the peace officers, the magistrate, village court magistrates. They are the most powerful, influential leaders in the community. And so, yeah, I totally agree.
Jacklyn, can I add on that one of the most important group of people who can influence and motivate young people are those business people who have started with agriculture. If there's anybody in Sipik, in Wewak, Ambunti, Maprik, you have started with cocoa, a block of cocoa, a block of vanilla, we can pull these people together, pull them on a pool, and we send them out with community leaders, and they speak to young people. That's what I see.
Thank you, Pastor. I think another question on our live stream on Facebook. I think, Pastor Missy, you can answer this one. Have the local farmers thought of forming cooperatives for specific crops to address supply side constraints?
On that, from the experience, and I think what I've seen, there are many groups coming up, tapping onto the opportunity that what FAO and United Nations has given it through the STREIT program, and there are groups coming up to take ownership of that. And yeah, by the span of time, we need to encourage this group to work together and take on that opportunity for greater harvest.
Do you think it can be possible with you and your youth?
Yeah, sure. If for me the opportunity is given to to pull those youth together, I'm in a position to give the time to work with this opportunity. Yeah.
Thank you. So we'll just go back to investment in agriculture. When we talk about investment, all of us just think money. You have to invest money, but it's more than money. Invest your time, effort, and obviously money too. So why will civic people invest in agriculture right now?
Thank you, Jacklyn. Civic people will invest in the agriculture, but as I said, again, we've got to socialize these things for our people and make them see the value in it. But as Monica has been saying, a lot of her experience in agriculture, we've got to facilitate that for people. From where I come from, Monica also comes from the same area. It's about a 3-hour walk to get out from the village. You walk through swamps and you get on canoes to come and stuff. You can't carry a big load of cocoa to get out. There is no motivation for the people to invest. You cannot get your crops out to the market and stuff. So a lot of that, for the people to invest individually, the government firstly and this program has to create that, the road networks and the other things to enable the people to get their crops out to the market. Otherwise, it's really hard. And many times we don't see how hard it is for our people in our rural areas and the challenges they have to face to get it out to market. So our people will invest, but we've got to support them. As a provincial government and through the STREIT program, we've got to support and enable our people to be able to get their crops out to market.
By providing an enabling environment. Okay, Monica, I'll just come back to you. With our custom and tradition, most of our women folk can't go venture into agricultural activities in our province because when they get married to a certain family, there's some tradition that restrict them to go into farming, like plant cocoa on this piece of land, because if they do, they're gonna get in trouble with the family of their partner. So with this situation, what is the way out of that?
I think I'm going to repeat myself. Yes, tradition is it's embedded in anything that anyone wants to do, especially women. But I think we are talking about promotions of investment and trade in agriculture. And I think agriculture is where women are very good at. And so I was more emphasizing on the enabling environment. So STREIT program really need to address this enabling environment. I've said it again, and I'm going to say it, accessibility to road, market access. And even accessibility road also comes the warehouses near the road. Like a person has said, 3 hours. No one wants to carry it. They want to harvest it from their land straight to the fermentary, then straight to the warehouse, where check and balance are made before it comes to the exporter or the agents of the exporter. So those enabling environments need to be addressed and assessed and see what is working, who is working, and then come up with a good focus group, like you said about cooperative. Our group is a very big cooperative network. In Pacific alone, there are 2,600 registered cooperative groups that are not functioning. Our STREIT program can bring them up to the level where they can also participate and become the owners of this development. When STREIT programs wind off and DPI don't go, agriculture officers or any government extension officers don't go and visit them, you have a cooperative that is living and breathing, promoting their members to grow cocoa, process cocoa, and then market their cocoa. So to me, that's one option to address about cooperative, where they can target. And these men are the owners of their land. They can become the owners of their own business focus. And that business focus must link with the exporters that can also help them to look at overseas market and look at the trends and tell them, sorry, next month, the price won't be 400 Kina, which is about 150 US dollars. But it will be 60 Kina, which is about what, 30, 40, 20 US dollars. they need to be informed in advance so that they can be prepared to sell at market, even though the price is down. But with this new clone cocoa, it'd be interesting for STREIT program to look at how you can target, to look at the 1 hectare block, which is about 625 cocoa trees in a block. Now, any farmer who is now buying wet beans from another farmer, he will not be interested to spend more money to buy because the price is low. However, if he has his own cocoa famine tree and knowing that the price is low, he will still harvest his own wet bean and dry them in his own famine tree, because that's his own money. Whether the price is up or low, he's going to still continue to harvest. So I would suggest that STREIT program need to look at the enabling environment so that we don't have to look at women as a labor burden to all these things, but to know that there is an opportunity. She can harvest a cocoa, there's a road there, there's a warehouse there, the market will be readily available. Someone is going to come in and buy the dry beans and take it to the depot. So to me, yeah, women can come out and they can own this project to themselves without having to rely on the government, but government can become monitoring and evaluation officers to make sure that there are production coming out from this ROD or this ward or this district. So that'd be my view. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. So we have another question on our Facebook live stream. It's from Ezron Kisa. Probably you all of you can answer in your own capacity. So the question is, so how exactly do you plan to disseminate information that will enhance farmers' capacity for their benefits?
Well, we said something about UN is talking about telecommunication information. I mean, this is where information can be shared among the buyers, exporters, cocoa growers, because everywhere you go, in Papua New Guinea, it's very interesting because I am from not so much of a Pacific River, but towards the Kunai area. But I can come up to Maprik and I can say, you know what, that's my clan bird there, that's my clan tree there. And said, you're from my clan. I said, oh, okay. And then we start talking about the names. And they said, oh yeah, you are right, that's right. So we have this network already established by our culture. So the network is to allow the IT, information technology, to have accessibility to our youths. Our youths are good, to tell you the truth. I mean, I can't use the mobile phone that are really fast for me, but our youths are very good. Why can't we train them? And let them become the information carriers. And they talk among themselves.
Yeah, from my capacity as the youth director, youth energy. When you talk about youth, there's greater energy. There's youth are some important people where you can really tap on them to, bring information. They can climb mountains. They can trek along the valleys to bring information. So from my capacity, especially from the experience how I'm working as the youth director, most of the information that goes into the old CPIC that I sent, it's channeled through the youths in our districts and our communities.
Yeah, outside of my work, I do some community work with youth. So I have there's a cyclist group that I work with, the ACP cycling movement. So there is young people who form their cycling group and they want to go out and be advocates on anything. You give them any information, they want to go out and share it. So recently I held a one-day session for them about all of the problems that we're having in society, the law and order and issues, but then also some of the opportunities. And the STREIT program was one of the things that we talked about, and we were grateful that FAO came out as well and they did a presentation to the young people. So for that information that they got, we raised the money and sent these young people out to Nuku district in West Sepik province. And they cycled back over 6 days. They crossed 4 districts. And these young people went there, they were sharing all of this information. Now, unfortunately, we didn't have all of the pamphlets and other information, but I've got a group of energetic young people who want to go out. The group's up to 100 young people. And so I'm excited about these young people and the capacity we have that if you can, many of them, aren't very well educated, but then that's the important thing. Like if you can bring down a message far enough for them to understand it, then you know that when they take it out, the other people in the village will get what they're saying. The other young people will get what they're saying. So I'm excited about being able to translate and break down this information to a level that our people can get and can relate with. And then I would send my young people, and they'd go everywhere. They could cover all districts in both East and West Pacific on their site, on their bikes. It's a lot cheaper than sending any other alternative. And they did a great job. So yeah, the young people are a great way to take out that information. But like I said earlier, I'd also like to see us how creative we are in using popular media, what we are doing in song, what kind of videos and skits and stuff we can make. A lot of people are now looking at their mobile phones and on Facebook or videos. So we have to be creative with how we present our information. And then we've got our young people who will take it out and to all our villages and communities and send it out to our people.
Added to that, I think the STREIT program can look at the district forums. They have, each district's got district forum network already established in each of the districts. So there are people, I mean, I'm not into it, but I'm just letting the STREIT program know that they've already got something going on. And so if they could make it recognized, put it that way. Yeah.
Thank you, Monica. I think the time is catching up on us, but before we go, we know that this discussion on promoting rural entrepreneurship, investment, and trade in agriculture is in line to celebrate the 75th anniversary of United Nations, so as the Food and Agriculture Organization of the UN. So, this year they conducted a global survey, and they asked people what they think the world would be. So there's three options. They said it will be better in 2045, and then the other option is it will be worse, and then still the same. So surprisingly, 60% of Pacific people, they said the world will be worse by 2045. Why do you think those people, say that the world will be worse by 2045?
So I'll just start with the question. Was this done in Wewak as well? Was this survey from?
Yes, so 60% of Pacific people said it will be worse by 2045.
I'm actually pretty happy that that's the response by the people. As I was stating when I opened up about the vision that the province has for agriculture and what we're looking to do over the next 5 years, like the vision is beautiful. And we've got all these enablers with the STREIT program and what we're doing as a province and what the Cocoa Board is doing as well. And the Smart Cocoa program run from the governor's office is doing. But the important thing now is our people need to see that vision. They need to capture it and run with it. Too many times we've been trained to see politicians come up and talk about some 5-year, 1-year thing. And so our people don't see enough of the long-term plan and the long-term vision. But we've got to help our people embrace it. And I'm really excited that at the end of this year, on the 11th, 12th, and 13th of December, we are hosting the CPIC show. And it's specifically geared to helping our people see that transition in the mindset. The theme for the show is honoring our past, embracing our future. And we're going to begin the show by flying around the Grand Chief Sir Michael Samare and Sefi Kalus, our great CPIC leaders, and farewell them so people get a chance to see that. And on the 11th of December, we have our big ceremony, our big show where we farewell him, but then now the governor has the stage to stand up and now tell the people that, thank you to our forefathers. This is where they brought us to, but this is our future now. It's in agriculture and stuff. So this show is going to be a massive event. We want to kill 100 pigs, something we don't do here. Because this time we're going to eat meat. And so it will help our people to have a visual image that there is a change happening now. There is a difference. And now they get a vision to embrace that in the next 5 years, if we hold on to agriculture and Neolium ground, we could be well ahead of everyone else.
So I'll just talk to Monica before we go. What do you think 60% of the people in Pacific said the world will be worse by 2045?
Well, the world probably may be worse by Papua New Guinea. It's an opportunity country. We've got vast land. We have a population growth. It is true. But I think President has made it clear that there is no industry to support our growing populations. There's so many of our youths coming out from grade 10, coming out from 12, coming out from universities will not even get a job. And I think it comes down to ownership of destining their own development for themselves. And if they could, if this great program can come out and say, 60% is what you said 5 years ago. And so after 5 years, they look at this enabling environment already going out to East and West Pacific provinces. Then go back and ask a question. Why are we not better off? We are not better off now because there's so many high unemployment things. There are students getting out of school. They are not going back to schools. They're not being employed. I know of many agriculture graduates from universities that cannot even find a job. And I think it's just a frustration of not seeing any industries taking place and not getting jobs offered when they apply. And so those are the stigmatizations of what is happening on the ground. So it's a good assessment, 60%. It's a good opportunity for a STREIT program to actually have a look at it and they said, okay, this is what the CIPIC and West CIPIC think. 60% of them in 2045, they'll be voice of. Okay, next 5 years, if we put this enabling environment in, what's going to happen? So it's an issue to be addressed. Yes, the world could be worse off. Why? Because of consuming so many natural resources. That's why they're saying it. But is Papua New Guinea in the same position? Maybe if freedom mine operates.
So, Pastor Missy, I'll just come back to you. What do you think will be a way forward to, change that mindset of our people?
People are predicting the world at 2045 to be worse or better, but I'd like to say that it depends on individual. How you channel your life, your commitment to your family and everything around you is very important, a way forward. So I can encourage young people, the best way is we put our heads down, focus on what is present for the better future.
Yeah, so I'm excited about all of the work we're doing and that's being done specifically in this province. I do worry about the rest of the country, but I'm happy that at least in East CIPIC and West CIPIC, with all the work that we're doing, we can at least set a model and show the rest of the country that there could be the positive future. And agriculture there is no question about it for me. Agriculture is the way forward, and I'm grateful to the EU and to the STREIT program and everything we're doing to support agriculture in the province.
So we'll just get another question from Facebook. It's from Adrian in Sydney, formerly an employee of Kalan Services National Unit based in Kaingi, Wewak. His question is, how much effort has been done to include persons with disabilities to access the government initiatives pivotal to agriculture and rural development for livelihood and self-sufficiency? I think the question...
The only thing that I've heard them doing it is that any development, any project, we must include disabled person. And we must not call them by names, but to look at enabling environment for them to have easy access to road, to toilets, to the water or whatever. No, very little has been done, Adrian. So I'm a woman who's out there in the bush all the time. I encounter disabled people. But one good news is that we do not call them, eye bagarab, leg bagarab. No, we've learned a lot from that situation and we call people by name. So that is now taking shape. So we do respect our disabled people.
Okay, thank you, Monica. But before we go, I'd just like to open the floor for your last or final comments on our team, back to our team promoting, rural entrepreneurship, investment, and trade in agriculture, and yes, more specifically, our two provinces, East and West CIPIC.
Yeah. Final comments for me. Thank you so much for the opportunity to have us be a part of the panel, and I'm excited about it. As I've already said, agriculture for me is the way forward, and I'm really grateful for all the work that is being done. And so, these programs have my full support for whatever's happening in East CIPIC, and if any way we can help with pushing out the information and encouraging our people, anything we can do, we stand by ready to support it. That's what I'll do. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacklyn. What I can say for the last time is I want to encourage young people. STREIT is here. That's a blessing for East CIPIC and the greater CIPIC. Take ownership of the initiative. Be disciplined. Change your mindset, and you will reap the harvest 2 or 3 years' time for your good and for the good of the family.
Thank you. Monica?
I'm thankful for this particular program, STREIT program, because it's one of the biggest and the largest in the South Pacific. And thank you for choosing Papua New Guinea, especially East and West CIPIC. I have nothing more to compliment, and there are so many assessments being made, like 60% of no development to 2040. And I think I'd like that STREIT program to take a challenge. And Korea that's been on the ground. This is the Women Cooperative Society, and we'd like to delivered a program for our women and youth. And we have been on the ground, and we will be continue to support the STREIT program. And with the help of European Union, thank you so much. UNDP through FAO, thank you so much. And with that, it's a blessing in disguise. And thank you for our leaders who have been fighting for this particular program, Sir Samari, Elizabeth Kaparangi, Tony Aimo, who have been the forefront of this particular program. And now our governor is pushing for it. Alan Good, thank you so much for pushing for it. And Adrian, thank you, and Kent, and our moderator, Jacklyn, thank you so much. And not forgetting Ravi, thank you. And all our FAO staffs here in East Sepik and West Sepik, thank you.
Thank you. That's the discussion on the topic, promoting rural entrepreneurship, investment, and trade in agriculture in East and West Sepik provinces. Before we wind up our live discussion this afternoon, I would like to say thank you for everyone who have joined us live on Facebook, also tuning in on NBC National Radio, that's 90.7 FM. We appreciate your company. And also, I would like to say thank you to Mr. Shimiju and Mr. Moggs for your participation virtually. And we would like to pass our thank you to St. Benedict's Divine Word University here in Wewak, East Sepik Province, for providing us this lovely venue to host this live stream on Facebook. Thank you so much, and we hope this, discussion today will spike up some, serious conversations between our local farmers, our stakeholders in East and West Sepik provinces, to, look at the realities of agriculture and its potential in developing these two provinces. That's it, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.